are not the ones for callouts. Usually it's like tank or maybe even support.
So here's the thing. Like when it comes to callouts, there's a couple categories of callouts, and you can structure comms differently from team to team. But generally, the sort of here the optimal would be there's 6 people that are making callouts, but callouts are things like scouting information, important cooldowns that get used, things like that, like no ice block, no nade, big purple, things like that. Like those are callouts,
Oh
or
yeah.
traces on the left, Sombra's behind. Those would be callouts. Everyone makes callouts. Then what you've got is target calling. Target calling could be Socratic, where everyone's sort of doing target calling and trying to get on the same page. It could be one person is trying to control all the target calling, but they're using some of those scouting calls that they're getting, including so-and-so's one, as information to feed into their target calling that they're trying to direct the team with. Or it could be a 2-person job, so it could be a 1-person, a 2-person, a 6-person job. There could be structure for that. Then you get into, okay, well, what are we doing? We've talked about callouts. We've talked about target calling. We've talked about. Then we would need to talk about ult tracking. And ult tracking is something that everyone will do themselves a bit as they're playing the game, especially on ladder. But in a team environment, you would have one person that would sort of do the ult tracking recap after a one team fight to remind everyone what ults are on the board. And then you'd have a fight plan. And maybe you guys make that plan as a team, though it's a little bit slower. Maybe you guys make that plan as one specific person's job, etc. And then you get into sort of your rotation calls, or who's driving the fight when the fight happens. Some of that is target calling, but some of that is where are we rotating? What are we doing?
Hmm.
Do we have to make a new plan because they just did something real quick and we have to real quickly make something? So you could call that a fight caller. Now, when you get into this, your ult tracker is usually, but not always, going to be your main support. Your fight planner could be whoever. Your fight caller could be whoever, but will frequently be a main tank. That would be a preference. Your fight planner might be an off tank, might be a flex support, might be the main tank, might be the main support. I had a team that had a really, really good fight planner and target caller that was our flex DPS. I've
Hmm.
also, so like you might want these jobs to be filled by your main tank. You might go, it's most optimal if our target calling is fulfilled by our main tank. Except in the next meta, it's most helpful if your target calling is handled by your flex support. And in the next meta, so like you just work with the reality of the people that you have. But for ladder playing, the
Yeah.
reality is everyone does callouts and everyone is going to do some target calling. And ult
Yeah.
tracking, you're going to
I've
do
noticed
yourself.
that.
So I can tell
Yeah.
you, like, oh, yes, this is what it ideally would be. But even in pro play, we don't follow the ideals.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot. Like pro play is definitely the standard on how well the game can be played at the highest level, but simply because the strategy works. Like I'm noticing since I started watching the league, there's so much team play happening, but
Oh,
when
yeah.
you try to translate that into like silver ranks, basically none of it is gonna translate well because I'm not playing with the same teammates that the people in the league are playing, nor am I the same on the same spectrum as the people in the Overwatch League are playing. So it's very different.
There is some truth to that. Yes. Yes. I would
Okay,
agree that
well that's
there's.
about it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's look at some Hanzo.
Yep.
No.
Okay, so you're pushing out here. Use your little leap to get ahead. You're going to see if you got out there first. You did, so you can send out this arrow immediately. Good job. Beautiful. Okay. I would expect the storm arrow to come out pretty much immediately here. Okay, you put it into the diva. Fine. So that one I am going to be more critical of. Okay, we're on the right rewind here. Don't really like this leap out here. So if you look at that, you just use your leap to get out here to open the angle, and you want to be a little more careful with that leap because that leap is your movement, it is your protection, it is your safety, and sometimes you're going to use it, yes, to pursue and clean up situations, things like that, to maybe get across a place. But here, if you use it to open the angle, you can't use it to close the angle. You can't use it because the
Yeah.
Diva or Lucio jumped on you, and it's a pretty short cooldown at 5 seconds, but it is a punishable cooldown. So it's the sort of thing where you go, that's you much less often want to use that to take like this. Coming back from spawn is one thing. You much more often want to go, hey, I'll walk in and then I'll leap to close the angle if someone jumps me type thing, because that lets you can be more greedy staying on this angle if you have your leap to get back.
Yeah, I always gotta be one step ahead of the opposition by always thinking they could attack at any given moment, so I can just leap
Right.
to safety.
This I like less because you've loaded this up, and I don't know if you loaded this up just because it came off cooldown or what, but that's not where you want that arrow, right?
Yeah, I have a habit of just sometimes putting these arrows, the reveal arrows,
Yeah.
in very weird locations. I think that's my biggest
Yep.
problem on Hanzo, aside of some positioning stuff. You'll see that a lot, like a lot.
Fortunately, it's a pretty easy one to fix. It literally is just every time this cooldown comes up, I'm going to spend a second, and that's an eternity, but a second thinking where it's going to go. And then you'll just tune down the amount of time you spend. I'm going to spend half a second
Yeah.
thinking about where it goes. I'm going to spend, because it should not just be this cooldown is up, let me just press the button, because this arrow, you were clearly just trying to headshot the Zen, and trying to headshot the Zen is fine, but you can't be using your Sonic arrow for that. Your Sonic arrow, you clearly needed to go more onto the right here, where it was going to give you much better information. Your Sonic arrow back here is just telling you about the Zen when the angle's closed. Whereas if you'd open the angle a tiny bit wider, thrown it here, tells you if someone's on point, tells you when they're here, lets you see them when your angle is closed. You can open the angle and try to hit headshots. Okay. Good. Okay.
Which is unseen.
Let's talk about this. So you used it the instant that it was up, and this one was fine. And why was this one fine?
Because I got a pick off it, and even if it goes off, I'll still be able to see a lot of what's happening.
Right. This arrow was
it's a good coverage, basically.
right. This arrow was placed in such a way. Well, if it went in here, you might have been in trouble. But as long as it hit this back wall, it was going to tell you everyone behind this wall when they're peeking. It's also going to tell you who's here when you close angles. This was going to give you good information. Exactly. I don't necessarily love that you're here. Like, standing here as opposed to standing here isn't really getting you much. And honestly, you had options without dropping that you could have played. You chose to drop. That doesn't cost you a ton as Hanzo. You can get back up pretty easily. But, you are in this place where it's like, why be here where you're potentially forcing your leap when you could be here? Unless you're thinking, no, I'm going to go peek over here. We don't necessarily need to be here where we're 3 steps, a good second from cover. We can just be here at this point. It's not really changing what we can attack. It's just making us safer in that we have the option to close the angle.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Oh boy. You dropped. Why did we drop?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a storm arrow planned that just didn't go well. You'll see. But
I'm sure you had a storm arrow planned. I had the storm arrow planned too, but I'm going to shoot the regular arrow from here, and then I'm immediately going to follow it up with storm arrow, but I'm going to do all that without dropping because I want it to be hard for him if he hits flash. If I storm arrow on the ground and he flashes me, he's still going to win. The truth is, he might win even if I'm up here. Like, he might still flash me and be able to headshot me, and I might still lose, but at least it's harder for him if he does it from here. Okay. Gift.
yeah, this one of those duels.
You just panicked. I'm not worried. Like, your aim got panicky. I get it. As you do more of them, that'll get more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, these I like to do like these arrows just to see where everybody's at. I think I should stop doing that, but usually when I'm on point, it's off cooldown, so I don't know
Yep.
how bad that is.
It's not a big deal because again, you have it back here. We could go back and talk about it. Like you're doing this.
See
You
that
throw
which
that.
is unseen.
Does it even get you any information? No.
Um,
Yeah,
No,
you get it
no.
back in time.
My ultimate
It's
is
prob
ready.
yeah, we could put that in the bad habit category because there is the possibility
Yeah.
that part way up you are going to want info here. There's also the possibility that after your team's been wiped, you're going to do the same thing. Right now it's not costing you as much because it's hard for them to push up because your team hasn't been wiped, but like if you did this when your team was wiped, well, they could be forward holding, and you've now sent your sonic arrow over here, and then they rush out of here and run over you guys or something. So that's
Yeah.
something to think about. Okay. Are you going to Sonic and then Dragon, or what are we doing here? Okay. You don't need to send it. That's a DM, so sending the last storm arrow is fine. But you don't want to fire your regular arrows if she's holding DM, because your regular arrows, like, you charge them up, you pull them back, you charge them up, you make them fire, more direct arcs, travel faster, etc. You'd rather hold this than release it into the DM, because your next arrow is going to be pitiful comparatively if you want to fire it. If she drops her DM just the instant after you fired that arrow, your next arrow will be pitiful unless you charge it for a moment. So like you'd have preferred to just not don't let go of the arrow into the DM. Like,
Yeah. It's never a good idea to shoot Diva when she uses her DM, basically.
See
well, it's
through
not
the
never a good idea. Like some people, yeah, basically. So here you are. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you're.
mean-
I'm glad. Go
I
ahead.
guess I could just kill the Diva faster and basically avoid the trouble of being at low HP when Lucio comes along. But that's just dueling problems. I
Right,
gotta work on
right.
just
This
be
is
playing more. So
dueling problems, and we talked through that duel a little bit in terms of holding the arrow. The other thing that we run into is, going into that fight, we did have the option to Dragon Strike this. Like, we did have a second out from Sonic Arrow. We did have the option to Dragon Strike through the point to try to split them, throw out a Sonic Arrow here to see where they are, throw the Dragon Strike through to split them in such a way that they run towards your team or they run off point. That would have
yeah,
been...
the
Go ahead.
idea was me and Reinhardt wanted to combine our ults basically. So I was waiting for him to get his. That's why I didn't strike
Okay.
there.
Okay.
minor setback.
I wouldn't be too worried about that. So there's that Sonic Arrow again that we're probably gonna take
Yeah, that's
back.
gonna be That's gonna happen constantly. So
Yep.
I have to actually make an effort to stop doing that.
Yep.
See that which is unseen.
I've sighted the enemy.
I don't think that Sonic Arrow was particularly amazing either, as I'm sure you realize in terms of
Yeah.
the information potential versus not having it. It's not a short cooldown at 12 seconds. I still don't like that leap. I don't think you being here an extra second earlier is worth putting that on cooldown.
See through the dragon's eyes.
That one's better. Okay.
I didn't have a chance to notice he actually blocked it, so I was just immediately after. I
Yep.
didn't even think
And that's
about
the
it.
thing. I don't really like if you tell me that you're comboing your dragon with Grav, which is the obvious combo. Great,
Yeah.
fantastic. If you tell me you're comboing it with Flux, no problem. I'm with you. Those I would save to combo with. Shatter is too conditional. It's too conditional. Shatters build faster, they get used faster, they get blocked more often. Gravs get successfully used more often, and it's a much more powerful combo. Like I really wouldn't put comboing with Reinhardt very high on your list. Like I probably wouldn't even hold dragons to. I probably just simply wouldn't hold dragons. If it happens, it happens, great. But like I was even in this fight looking, going, you could send your dragon through here. This team is exhausted. Like, this team is exhausted. They've been poked out on resources. You hit the Mei wall split. Their Reinhardt got out alive, but this team used a bunch of resources to survive that. If you just step in here and send a dragon through here, I'll rewind to the fight so it's not just
Yeah.
So, like, here you are.
See through the dragon's eyes.
You use Coalescence. That happens. Like,
Right there.
Right.
Right here,
If you just
yeah.
step in here and throw this dragon through, they're going to be very unhappy. This Mercy can't really move. The team is going to be stacked to try to protect their Mercy right here. They're going to then split, and they're going to split this way plus this way as your team, and your team is close enough to push in and easily pick off 2 to 3 people while your dragon's going off. And let's be honest, that's a team fight win right there, probably. And like, it's not reliant on your Reinhardt. It's using 1 ult instead of 2 ults to do it. And it's not like, oh, the Shatter got blocked and then I drag in and like, you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And you don't really have time to wait to see if the Shatter is blocked when you're going for Dragon Strike, because Dragon Strike
Yeah.
has its own windup.
It has to be instantaneous.
Why? Why are you over there? Okay. You guys have the Mei wall up, so it's not a huge deal, but like, why are you walking closer to this fight? Back here, you had effectively the cover of the building as cover against their backline, which is cool. But you're walking out into their sightline to shoot at this. So now there's threats from over here and over here, whereas when you were back here, there were just threats from this direction, or these guys can walk up and then be approaching from the same direction. Like, you don't want to walk
Yeah.
yourself into threats from multiple directions there.
Also, it's never good to be near Reinhardt when he's swinging, so
Right.
that's
you
a
don't,
bonus.
the archer doesn't need to walk at the guy with the hammer. It's true.
Exactly.
Okay, barely. Little Lucia revenge. You're gonna pop Storm immediately? No? No? I would have expected Storm a little earlier just because I know how bad your health is at this point, and it's very obvious. Like, you know the Diva's coming and she's not gonna turn away, right? So, like, we can already be
Yeah.
popping Storm. Yeah.
The reason I usually don't pop them so early, because I did before, and then I was told that usually it's not a good idea because most divas are gonna just come at you with a DM, and I think the duration of her DM is shorter than my Storm Arrow, so I can still get some of them in. But in the situation, I was just thinking how to survive.
Oh no,
So I was just
that's
a
correct.
bit
You are
panicking
correct to go, hey, she's going to use some DM and she's generally going to come at you with DM, but let's take a guess at how much DM she has left at this point in the fight. All of it,
Oh, yeah,
which is
that's also-
surprising. I'm very surprised that she has all of her DM right now. But yes, you are correct to go, hey, she's likely to DM, and yet she doesn't. And the other issue that
Yeah.
I had is you simply didn't have time to wait out her DM because she was gonna beat you while while she had DM available because of how little health you had
Yeah.
left. But that's fine.
Get into position. Fire at will.
Okay.
This would have been a much better time to put a dragon in.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah.
See through the dragon's
Okay.
It was a bad arrow.
It wasn't a particularly good arrow. Yeah. I mean, you could have maybe justified an arrow into this. It would have been hard to open the angle deep enough to put an arrow back here, which would have given you more information. You could have just said, I'm done with this whole thing, and climbed up over here and been like, I'm going to arrow you guys from behind. That would have been the real play. But let's see
Yeah.
what you do next. Oh, no. Oh, no. We leapt into the open. Oh, is there Hanzo going to do what I wanted you to do? No.
No.
I thought I saw someone over there, but no. Oh, it's just Lucio.
Yeah, it's just Liz. No real problem.
that wasn't an amazing. Like that arrow just lets you help fight Hanzo. And that's okay. That's okay, but I think we could get a better arrow. Really, the issue in this fight though is I just wanted you to go this way. Like you're waiting
Yeah,
on
take
your
an off
team.
angle,
Just go
surprise
take
them.
your off angle. Exactly.
Yeah.
Freeze! Don't move.
That's what I like about Hanzo. A duel can end so quickly just with one lucky arrow or a skilled archer that use
Yes.
his
yes.
arrow, basically.
Exactly. But you're a Hanzo player now, so it's always skill. It's never luck. You
Exactly.
gotta follow the company line. It's always
It's never
skill.
luck.
Yeah.
All calculated.
Yes. Good. Nice. Not sure what that Sonic was about, but hey,
Like you said, I see it off cooldown, I gotta press it.
we're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that.
Yeah.
So here you are. She doesn't have a sightline on you. Freeze. Literally just freeze until someone else threatens her or someone is able to heal you. You see what I'm saying? Like there's just
Yeah,
no
yeah.
reason to challenge her right now. And she doesn't have any friends here, whereas you have basically, okay, not your whole team here, but basically your whole team here. Like, nope.
Also the mercy, so
Right.
really good.
Right. So like you can be marked, you can be like holding the angle right here. It played forward a little. It sometimes does that when you get on and off a person, but you were behind this pillar completely, and you can be holding this angle here so that like if she peeks, you immediately release the headshot on her. That's fine, but you yourself don't change the angle to open it because the person who forces the angle open when two snipers are holding on each other is usually the person who loses. Okay.
Yeah, because the other sniper is ready and waiting, basically.
You got it.
See through the dragon's eyes.
That's a reasonable Sonic use. Ish.
Yeah.
Don't over tunnel her. If she's gonna be irrelevant, she's gonna be irrelevant. Like you're like I get that you want her, but there's easier shots. There's easier value to provide here, right? You don't have to be like, my honor as a sniper requires that I go find a way to get it. No. I'm just perfectly happy to outvalue you over here because you've got shots on. Well, she's got shots right now, but you can't really contest her shots, so you just have to go, I have to get equivalent or better value by threatening your core.
Yeah.
My servants never die.
Good. You want that Lucio so bad, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Still don't like that leap. Good.
At some point here, I got right here. I was trying to climb, and
Yeah. I think
guess
she
not.
booped you. I think what happened is she booped you, but let's take a look. No, it just didn't want to let you.
Yeah.
She'd already used it.
I read that's usually just like a big deal with Hanzo and Genji. Like the wall climb sometimes just doesn't register. I know that after the double jump or after the leap or something, I can't use it. But here, just no, you're not gonna climb. You're gonna die.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it decided. Maybe it was.
Yeah.
Had you just leapt?
I don't know. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I did just leap. Yeah.
You did, but then you clearly tried to press W again after the
Yeah.
leap.
Yeah.
Okay.
A minor setback.
We still see that arrow. We'll be fixing that at some point. Okay, so you're just going to Dragon through point. You're going to Sonic Arrow. See, you'd like to have Sonic Arrow right now to Sonic the point.
Yeah.
And then you would like to dragon. So this should be a Sonic.
See through the
I'd actually have probably
Wakateki.
Sonic the middle because I want maximum information here. And that's fine. And now I'd like to have this leap to immediately change my location so this Ashe doesn't kill me. Yeah.
Yeah, I did one thing that I shouldn't have done. I just leapt
Yeah.
above, not above, on.
Straight lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Not a big deal. We obviously see Sonic Arrow adjustments we can make. We see Dragon Strike adjustments that we can make. I'm watching your Storm Arrows a little more closely now because obviously you had a bit of a bad streak. I don't usually care about mechanics, but we may need to prescribe some Storm Arrow drilling specifically. It's not uncommon for Hanzo players to get comfortable with one mode of fire for him and just struggle with the fact that his weapon performs very differently in those two modes.
Yeah. One is tracking, one is just predicting.
Round 2. Capture the objective.
Oh look, no reveal arrow.
You put it away. You pulled it out, but then you put it
Yeah.
away.
Oh.
I don't love that you guys are going this way. Yeah, but this is a reasonable reveal arrow because, like, hey, stuff could be coming through here. You want it. You might want... Oh, I like this less. So you're using your jump to rotate in, and you're basically rotating in alone, right? And you'll notice McCree held
Yeah.
his roll. If he'd used his roll, he'd have kept up with you, but he was too smart for that.
Yeah, there was no need for that leap. I could have just slowly crept up if I even wanted to go there. I mean, if I even should have gone.
I
there.
don't mind you
I
going
obviously
here.
wanted.
The reality is that you want control of this. This is the direction that you and McCree want control of. Not so much this. This can sometimes surprise people, but this, by and large, is what you want control of and is where you're going to roll out. And if you were just going to, as 6, rotate through here behind your Rhine shield or whatever, you wanted to go this way. And you're not playing with your Rhine anyway, so you wanted to go that way. But here we are.
See that which is unseen.
Okay.
I think sometimes I'm just a bit too overconfident with my Hanzo, even though I did take her out. That could have easily been a really fast kill on their side because they were both shooting at me at one point.
It could have, but you had your McCree here until a little bit ago. He, was contributing at some point. Where did he get off to? Did he just drop and leave? No, he just rotated all the way back. Okay. Yes, it could have. On the other hand, keeping these two tied up has some real value, and you're wanting to sort of fight harder while you have your Sonic Arrow up. You're wanting to fight harder because you're thinking you can get an elimination, and once your Sonic Arrow is over, you'd play a little more passive, where you'd go, hey, now I'm going to play a little more passive while my Sonic's not providing value anymore until I've got my next one back. So now I'm going to play a little more passive. And just try to sort of keep you two paying attention to me to sort of outvalue you while my team wins. Your burst of efficiency is while your cooldowns are up. Now, I'm actually, however, more concerned about what comes here than this. So this happens. You do this. This isn't bothering me wild. Like, yes, you could take damage, but you're probably not immediately going to get eliminated. If the Ashe hits a headshot and the soldier hits you at the same time, you will. Actually, I lied. If the Ashe hits a headshot, no, it would take both. And you dodge that, which is good. This is more what bothers me. You don't actually have a way to fight this Devo with that soldier not seeing you, and you popping Storm Arrow to here didn't really make sense. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're sort of just wasting your Storm Arrow. Also, you're like pretending that you just have to hold down the Storm Arrow button because otherwise it'll expire too quick. And you see how much time is left on your Storm Arrow bar versus...
Yeah, I have a real problem with just spamming them.
Yep.
Even though I can just hold them.
Yeah.
I'm actively working on that still.
Okay, good. Because you just put, half of your Storm Arrows into a wall that was clearly a wall here. You just put 3 Storm Arrows into, and like, there's nothing there. 4 Storm Arrows into a wall. Okay, give me back some frames, Overwatch. There we go. You have your Sonic. Beautiful. No. Like, cool, but no. I mean,
Yeah, under
you just
revival.
sort of went, aha, I'm gonna go out here to... No, that's not what our leap is gonna be used for.
Der Kampf ist noch nicht
I don't need to get closer to him anyways. So
Yep. Well, I mean, you sort of, you know, your Storm Arrow sort of gets... Yeah, you don't really need to get closer to him.
yeah.
Okay. This hasn't gone well for you in the past. Okay. Oh boy.
This was just to keep him away.
Okay.
Just sort of intimidation technique because I heard him trying
Yeah.
to, and I see him here, but I didn't see him then.
Yep, I get it. Okay. I would immediately be looking... Oh, sorry, you can't see if I go like that. I would immediately be looking over here because the way this map works, ranged heroes are going to get and try to control this, and control of this is dominant. So you need to not go, I'm going to out-contribute you on point. You really do need to go, if I have, like, you need to immediately check, is there something here? And if there is something here and it's not behind cover, your opening shots need to be on that.
Oh, okay.
Please tell me you swapped that off. I see that you didn't, but I'm having trouble believing it.
By the dragon.
Huh? Like, that's... You can't use your Sonic Arrow in this fight. You want your Sonic Arrow, like, over here, etc. So
Yeah,
you just need
yeah.
to toggle that off. Okay. And you see that... Yeah, perfect. That should not have been a Sonic, obviously.
Yeah.
And whereas a Sonic could have been quite useful to make Ash uncomfortable while you were doing all this.
Again, spamming instead of just holding.
Exactly. It's like, boom, totally fine, stop. You've still got 3 arrows left, just stop.
Sometimes I remember, but sometimes I don't.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Where are you getting shot from? Did they just get control of that? No, he's right there. Okay.
I think this was where I turned my back to a wall and didn't even notice, and then I just kept running into the wall and I died. Yep, this was this.
Yeah,
This
you
was
did.
that, yeah.
see.
I was pressing S and I was like, why am I not going back? And yeah, the wall was there.
I hear you. I hear you.
That's why I'm still at silver.
All good. Let's get you control of the high ground here. See what we can do.
Join me.
Please go right. 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 Please go.
Yeah. It's even worse for me because I know what I did because this was today.
Yep.
I am on fire.
Okay. So your team has control. You want to be over here. Like when you were doing the, hey, I'm chasing for staggers, so be it. But in general, you want to be controlling this high ground. It is very, very hard for them to push anywhere except onto you if you're here. If they push here, they're just going to lose. If they rotate through here and then go to point, they're just going to lose. If they rotate through here and then through here to get to you, you go, okay, I'll play at the far side of the high ground and I'll poke you the whole time you're rotating across. Like, it is very hard to win this point without first winning control of this. So that's what we want you playing for.
Graviton Surge is ready.
Marked by the dragon.
Team is threatening from this direction. You would like to threaten from a different direction.
Yeah, off angles.
Yep. And you're not going to get much healing because your team is running Lucio Moira, but that's that's okay.
That which is unseen.
I don't think there was enough justification for a Sonic arrow there. Just regular arrow was fine. But hey.
Thing is, whenever you see I put a Sonic arrow in those scenarios, I wasn't thinking about the Sonic arrow. I was just thinking I gotta shoot this person, and I see a shift is off cooldown. Okay, gotta push shift.
Yep. I know what's happening. I'm just making sure
Yeah.
I keep pointing. I'm actually not pointing it out every time. Even I'm just making sure to point it out somewhat consistently, so that you are like, okay, that really is there. That really is worse than I thought.
Yeah, it's definitely worse than I thought now that I'm watching it.
Yep.
I must reclaim my honor.
I don't even have to comment.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it might already be time to throw a Sonic Arrow here. It wouldn't be, but like last time a Sonic Arrow here, then Dragon Strike was really cool. Might be time, but you can't. Okay, here we go. You kind of knew there was going to be DM there. Still don't want you going this way. Still would much prefer you fighting for this. And if you just late peeked
the only
over
good
here,
thing here,
go ahead.
that the enemy team didn't really regain control of that. I mean, Ash was there, but she wasn't that much of a threat. If they were much more in control of that, that would have been probably a much
But even
quicker
her on
fight.
that is a big deal. Like even her on that
Yeah.
is a pretty big deal. It's pretty tough.
So I gotta contest that. I gotta control that when I'm playing
Right,
Hanzo
right.
or pretty much anybody.
You just be like, and think of how easy this would have been, because she's been looking over here, and I think she'd have been looking over here for your team regardless. So if you just been like,
Yeah.
oh, I peek, free headshot, boom.
Yep.
Get into position.
Oh.
Now Lucia's going to enforce it for her because Lucia's secretly carrying this game.
My will made real.
I exaggerate, but he's
There we
doing
go.
his job. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a little dicey.
Only because I saw the percentage and I didn't really think Zarya's gonna make it for a decent grab. So I was like, I'm gonna get some pressure off the point.
Yeah, I hear you.
Just see what happens, basically.
I hear you. I'm a little worried about this diva, but she's far enough away. Okay. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. And now you can just leap to close the angle. It's great because you have leap. Mm-hmm. That, okay, minimal. Like he has
That was
nowhere
very
to go.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was also very not, I wouldn't say dumb, but also not smart because he can easily lock onto me. But I was trying to be as evasive as
Yeah,
possible,
and
even
your
though he
Ryan
has
was-
aimbot at that
Your
point.
Ryan was doing some shielding for you. I understood it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. You just leapt yourself into the
Yeah.
middle of this. That's
Yeah.
no.
No need. I was lucky there that he missed the shatter.
Okay.
See through the dragon's eyes.
Okay.
This will be much obliged.
Okay. And let's see round 3.
Round 3 was, I think, my best round.
Good.
But then again, I also thought round 2 was really good, but it doesn't look like it now that I'm watching it again.
It was a really good Sanctum game for Hanzo. How often was Hanzo controlling the high ground? Like 2%.
Yeah.
2%.
Yeah. Sometimes on this map, I do know how to hit the Sonic arrow so that I can see
Sure.
where they are. No, wait, that's not the Sonic. Oh, yeah, it is. It's the Summer, yeah. So I probably will keep doing it on this map, but only when I learn exactly how to point it so that I can see when they're coming.
Okay.
Yeah, I was much more aware of the Ash after the
Yep. That's good.
previous round, so I immediately went to contest because I don't want her there.
This is less good. Like, yes, you might end up. This Sonic Arrow might end up helping you because you will be able to see if she pops in here, for example, off of this Sonic Arrow. But you can send the Sonic Arrow if she actually pops in here, right? Like, again, we don't
Yeah.
need this yet.
See those eyes.
Oh no! Oh no! And that would be an example of a perfectly valid pursuit jump.
Even though our brig was in front of her, I don't know how she didn't see it, but that's a story for another day.
Sorry, what was that?
I mean, our brig when no, wait, not brig. Yeah, brig. When Ash was running away, she was literally in front of her, our brig,
Oh, yeah.
and she didn't see her. Just one click and she would have killed.
That's
I
true.
think.
That's true. This is what happens when you count on your teammates for literally anything. I mean,
I love when runners do this. It's such an easy kill.
Yep.
See that which is unseen.
I'm not sure I agree that that Anna shot was a headshot. I'm still looking at the game going, really? Really? But hey.
I'm not gonna argue with it.
This is my will.
No. Why is this
Yeah,
not okay?
no,
Okay.
because first of all, the angle I'm covering is they're not gonna be there. They're way more to the left, and even if they are there, they're just gonna move to the left.
But even if you
So,
sent
yeah.
this further to the left, and your Sonic Arrow is in 1 second, so you'd be able to know in 1 second where they are, or you'd have a
Yeah.
much better idea. Even if that's the case, do you expect the dragon to get eliminations all by itself? Like,
Mm,
okay,
in
go
the
ahead.
situation, no.
In
the
general,
situation,
the
not at
answer
all.
should be no. If you're comboing it with a Grav or a Flux, sure, the dragon will get eliminations. But we're not actually really counting on our dragon to get eliminations. We're counting it on as like a damaging Maywall. That's more how we want to think about it, where we go, I split the team with it. I
Oh.
split the team with it in a way that, it hurts them some as they're running from it, but I don't actually expect to it's not that hard to get out of dragons. It's just not very hard to get out of dragons, so it's like a damaging Maywall. So my team needs to be able to engage with part of their team that is forced to run forward from it. You see what I'm saying? Like, it needs to be
Yeah,
I
yeah.
send it like this, and you guys go, well, if I run the long way through the dragon, I might actually get eliminated by the dragon, so I have to run this way. Whereas McCree goes, nope, I've got to go this way from the dragon. I can't run the long way to join them. So they're forced to split by the dragon. And so for that to work, your team has to be in a place. If your team was right here and you sent the dragon, sure, your team would walk in and take care of the Diva and the Mercy. Successful dragon. But here,
Yep.
if you hit a dragon, it's just not going to get eliminations. Or,
Yeah,
not
definitely.
without some sort of combo.
It was also very, very bad placement of the dragon.
Yes.
And then I put the
Yes.
arrow. I did it backwards.
Oh, and you just fed him. So here they
Yeah.
are. You just need to stop
I
shooting.
need to work on the trigger
Trigger
finger.
discipline. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know there was a McCree there. I thought it was still gonna be Ash, so I wasn't really careful about the stun.
Yep. But you were kind of boned regardless, because if we look here, you'd leapt to get over here. Like, we look at this.
Yep.
You'd used leap
Yeah.
to get here, and because you used leap to get here, you didn't have leap to create distance to make it harder for McCree, at least to force him to use roll to match.
Also, why would there be a lone Mercy just on the side? I could have thought
Right,
about that as
right.
well.
I will
Like, if
not
you can eliminate her, great, but oh, hi, Arrow.
Helden sterben nicht.
Yeah.
Fine.
I could have killed him a lot earlier though. I should have at least.
Yeah, but again, I'm not too worried about the aim. I don't know that this is gonna transform fast enough. Maybe, barely.
Yep.
Okay, and now that you have people here, you adjust to the off angle. Fine.
I'm on fire.
Even though it might not look like it, I do remember thinking if I put it here, some of them are gonna get split, and then I can do the off angle and see who it
Perfect.
is and maybe get a good kill.
That was good. That was
And
good.
that happened, so yeah. Here I got a bit greedy because I knew she was here, or he, Reaper, yeah. But yeah, no need for a Storm Arrow.
Well, you just have to learn the duel. Like, you're not going to use Storm Arrow against a Reaper until you've seen Wraith. Or, you know, like if you're
Yeah.
at 70, 60 health, whatever, sure, you might do it. Just be like, okay, well, I got to invest. But it's basically, if he has to Wraith first and you still have Storm, you're great. But you unfortunately, I mean, he didn't even Wraith to react to you storming, which is how you would expect that to
Yeah.
play out. He actually Wraithed and then you stormed, which just makes me sad. But that's okay. That's okay.
But hey, at least I didn't waste the arrows. I waited. Oh,
There you go. You didn't. I mean, they expire if you don't use them. You're going to use them at
Yeah.
some point. Okay, so this is actually something that you should have been aware of in the first place. You take this down, and you didn't actually want to go this way back in the first place. If you see the shot, so be it. But this, in general, is Elephant, and is sort of what you're looking to control when you're controlling this point. Remember, the power position was the high ground on the other point? This is your power position for a hit scan or a Hanzo scan on this point.
okay. And here I made a terrible decision. I misjudged the duration of the high noon
Oh, yeah.
by a lot.
A lot is right. He's still got half of it, well, a little less than half of it left.
Yeah.
It's high noon.
Also, what was the point of his high noon? There was no. I mean, that was the point, but also, why did he high noon there? It puzzles me for so long.
Help his team rotate. So watch this.
Lights on.
It's high noon.
So there would frequently be someone here, you, namely, that would get threatened
Yeah.
by this. But the other thing it does is it does help his team rotate a little bit. It causes you guys to look around and go, where's the high noon? What do we need to get cover against, etc. Which
distraction.
makes it easier for his team to rotate through what is kind of a difficult push through this open space.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah,
he's doing it. I don't love that usage, but that's what he's doing with it.
I mean, I guess in silver and pretty much anywhere below diamond, you can even get 6Ks with high noon, but above that, it's just a distraction tool mostly.
Sort of. I mean,
Yeah, you can still get kills if people are dumb enough to be caught in it, but they're not gonna be dumb enough, usually.
yeah, but it also gets other resources out. Like, the reason that they don't go down to it is because things like defense matrix and amp speed and May walls get used to react to it.
Yeah.
And then after that's over, well, you have your own amp speed and May wall and defense matrix, right? So, like, there is, as long as you've used it in such a way, it can be okay to trade the ult for cooldowns as long as you then have your cooldowns and the ability to use those cooldowns. But yeah. Hanzo.
By the dagger. Never second best.
Good off angle.
No need for the leap, right? Or maybe, in this case, I would say maybe, because I wouldn't have gotten him, but again...
But you don't know that that's going to be the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. This was pretty lucky.
I mean,
the
it's
aim
a
was
headshot.
all-
I'm just...
Don't get me wrong, the aim was all skill, but
Yes,
the leap
yes.
was lucky.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, you're gonna hit one, then you're gonna storm, then you're gonna storm. No, not Sonar, not Sonic, storm. Oh, and that Sonic cost you because with the storm, boom. Yeah, you hit the storm here. You've probably got her. Too slow. Too slow. Too slow. Ooh.
I am restored.
Now Sigma's coming.
Almost. But it's okay. You have the dragon to end all team fights. It's not amazing. So it's okay, but your team is going to struggle to take advantage of this. Like, your team is mostly going to get to use this the same way their team used the High Noon, which is to rotate in. I don't expect your team to
Yeah.
really be able to get eliminations during this, and I don't like that. I personally don't like that. It's not an I personally. That's not the best use of an application. Like, the best application of an ult. Like, yes, that is a maybe just barely valid use of it, but we can do better. We can go, hey, I think my team can get in the right way. I think my team can get in on their own, and I probably don't want to do this when we're down the brig anyway. Like, I think my team can get in correctly on their own, and then I'll use my ult once we're in for value. That's what I'd like to see. But hey.
Okay.
Helden sterben nicht.
Good. This happens. No Sonic, or excuse me, no Storm. Like, generally after you've hit that first shot, you're in the, okay, now I'm going to hit Storm. Or if he's already missing health, I'm going to hit Storm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again.
Come over here.
Locked.
My ultimate is almost
Join
ready.
me.
Huh? My ultimate is almost ready.
Marked by the dragon.
We can take Elephant? No. Okay. Don't love that, Sonic, obviously. Storm is correct. Yeah, he does have iframes doing that. You'll learn when there.
What he does have?
During his teleport, he has invulnerability frames.
Oh.
Yeah, he has frames where
Okay.
you can't hurt him, so, like... Let's go back here. Not all... He's not invulnerable the whole time he's doing his teleport. Like, he's starting his teleport now and you hurt him. But then this, he's clearly still there, and you clearly just put an arrow through him and it didn't hurt him. That's what I'm referring
Yeah.
to. That's he has some invulnerability frames.
It would be too easy to cancel his teleport that way, I guess. If he didn't have those frames, I guess.
Yeah.
She survived for way too long here, but we got
It
it.
looks like you guys are going to get it, yeah.
And I also got the revenge on Lucio once again.
Don't stand on point. Off angle, good. Okay.
I
feel
was
like-
mostly scared here because I didn't want him to ult, so I was like, I'm gonna apply as much damage to him as possible, so even if he gets to ult, we'll kill him, hopefully.
Okay. I mean, another way of looking at that is if he has ult and my brig
He can
doesn't
kill
hit
me.
bash, all of us get like that's
Yeah.
another- Whereas
Yeah.
if you're here, it's like, I don't care if you ult, I'm just going to eliminate you while you were ulting. But hey.
Yeah, that is the smarter way to approach it, but luckily for us.
Okay. So, the things that I would primarily make focuses for you, the biggest difference, and fortunately this one isn't too hard to apply, is going to be your Sonic Arrow usage. If you look to use
Definitely.
this Sonic Arrow, I just want you to be conscious when you use it, because you're just using it like, oh, it's up, and I just equip it to my next arrow. And that's not how it's used. It's used to get you
Yeah.
specific information. It can be used for sniper duels like you're having with the Ash. It can be used to enable your dragon strikes. It can be used to, against people who don't even know that you've used it, to enable you to pick them off from the side. It can be used to watch a flank route for you. Like, it is valid to use it in different ways, but you're not getting terribly good use out of it because you're just using it as like, I'm going to shoot this as a soldier that's standing in the open and clearly isn't going to go behind cover. You're using it like that too often. Or I'm using this against a Reinhardt who's in the open and not going to go behind cover. And those aren't particularly useful for you, so you need to cut those out of your system. It's fine if your Sonic Arrow stays off of cooldown, or stays off cooldown for 3, 4, 5 seconds, that's fine. When it does come up off of cooldown, though, I do want you to just think for like a second, and that's going to slow you down a little bit. But that's okay because you're going to go, hey, I'm going to be thinking about this for like a second each time before I've decided how to use it. I don't necessarily have to use it, right then, but I want to think for a second about how I'm looking to use this Sonic Arrow. And then that time is going to cut down pretty quickly as you get it. I don't expect that you'll be thinking for a second for more than, a couple games. But if you do that for like 3, 5 games, I think you'll pretty quickly get to a point where you go, oh, okay, I do this, and I do this, and I do this. And you just get rid of that habitually using it, or habitually using it in poor situations like, oh, it's up and I automatically equip it thing. So that's going to be like the biggest thing to work on is, hey, pause and think for a second with Sonic. The next thing that I'm going to say is for your storm arrows, we're also going to need to work on these a little bit. Part of what we need to do is we need to go, hey, you shouldn't just be holding down the fire button when looking at walls. So like you shouldn't just hold down the fire button when you're looking at walls. And I'd say that's the big adjustment to make there of, hey, if you've activated this ability, you don't have to spend the whole thing right away. I think we could also talk a little bit about your when to activate it stuff, but that's going to bother me less and I don't want to overwhelm you, which is, hey, we, want to think about our duels in terms of the DM, the Wraith usage, are we actually going to be able to follow up on this, or is the target as soon as we activate Storm Arrow going to go behind cover because they're literally half their body is already behind cover type stuff? Like there is some when that we could be thinking harder about with our Storm Arrow, but for now what I'd focus on your Storm Arrow is actually the, hey, I'm willing to pause for a moment and look around for new targets. It's not just I activated and I have to fire all 5 shots immediately. You actually have a decent duration that you can hold it. And then we could also get into some drills to work on your aim specifically with Storm Arrow, because I saw you were struggling with targets like Lucio quite a bit. But that I think we're going to circle back to too. So the third thing that we're going to talk about is your Dragon Strikes. And we've talked about those. I think you're going to get these pretty quickly. Don't bother comboing with Shatter. Combo with Grab or Flux. Those are fine.
Okay.
Other than that, be thinking about it as, hey, can I get a Sonic Arrow to help me with this? And also, can I use this to split the opposing team at such a time that my team can follow up on the split? That's what I mostly want you thinking about for your Dragon Strike. So these are the 3 things I'd give you, and you know the routine. Pick one, go, I'm going to spend 15% of my brain power thinking about this while I'm playing, and then it might take 5 games, it might take 15 games, whatever it takes for that to sort of level up and stick in the level up. And if you work on think on my Sonic Arrow for a second. You work on, hey, I'm willing to hold my Storm Arrow in terms of I fire a shot or I fire 2 shots, and then I can't hold for a full second or anything, but I can go, oh, is there a better thing, etc. if they go behind cover, and then the Dragon Strike splits. And I'd actually probably move Storm to the bottom of your list. I'd probably go Sonic, then Dragon, then Storm in that order for maximum benefit.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Just a question, if it's okay to ask. Would you say that my Hanzo is better than my Genji, or the other way around? If you remember my Genji at all, because you do a lot of these. So
I do a lot of these, so that is a little
Yeah.
tough. I would say I would say your Genji actually had some better habits than your Hanzo at this point. That said, Genji is a lot harder hero to get value out of than Hanzo. So I actually do for this moment, I think, and I could just not, it's been, I think 2 weeks since I've looked at your Genji here.
Yeah.
But I think your Genji is still a little better than your Hanzo, but not far and away better. It's not like one's plat and the other is silver in terms of the level that they're playing at. Yeah.
Okay. Well, by the way, great job on the new thumbnails. Like they will look really good.
Awesome.
For the videos.
I'm glad you like them. You like them.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
perfect.
I think that's it. I'm gonna spend a week practicing, and then next Sunday. Oh, by the way, I'm starting a new job. The week after the next one. So we're still on for next Sunday. And I'm going to have 1 day a week off. So I'm going to have to tell you I'm going to have to tell you in the future when I can, what's the day I'm going to have off.